Alrighty, we are live. What is going on, everybody? Michael here. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. I hope you all are having an excellent day. We are just about ready to go. It's only 12 seconds in. Let me just pull it up on my end. I want to make sure the audio and video is good, so I'm going to pull it up on a separate stream here just to make sure everything pans out. We don't want any technical difficulties now, especially on my return to tech. All right, let's see what we got here. We got 5 people in the house. We already got a couple people in. Let's get this going. Let's see who we got. We got Raph. Raph, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you hounding it as always with the blue wrench. We got Raph in the house. We got the link to our guest tonight. We got Bob in the house. Hello, Bob. How are you? It is great to have you on. Cesar, how you doing, my man? It's good to have you on. Kimon, how are you doing? It's good to have you on. Gene, thank you for stopping by. Whoa, we got a special one in the house. We got Holly Russo. All right, welcome in. Good to have you on. Thank you, Raph. Thank you for letting me know. Looks like we are good. We got 11 people joining in. Good visual and audio. Look at this. We got so many people in here. I don't know. I lost my place. All right, let's do it fast. Sean is in the house. Thank you for stopping by. DJ, thank you for stopping by. Tom Tom, good to see you on here. It is good to see everybody here. We got Alex in the house. We got Saldana. Sorry if I said your name wrong. We got Nadim. Thank you for coming in. Carlos, the SMT. Oh, this is great. We got 16 people in the house. This is absolutely amazing. All right. Looks like I am done with roll call. Well, I just thought I was. We got Chanel 808 Live Hawaii. Aloha. Aloha. I know I'm very energetic tonight. We got Tito. We got Tito. Aloha. We got Tito in the house. It looks like Gene, everybody's here. All right. It looks like we are good to go. All right, everybody. So here's the deal. So tonight I am not bringing on a new guest, but a returning guest. Now, if you guys haven't been with me from the early days of my channel, I did a previous live stream with this individual. He is a great individual. He was very fun, and we had a good stream. And I encourage you guys to see that live stream. That was my early days. That was when I was just kind of figuring out all the system, kind of getting into the whole tech world. So I encourage you to check it out. I'll leave a link, but you can see a lot better things have changed. Well, I never lost touch with this man. His channel has been going very well, and I'm hoping to introduce you guys to him tonight if this is your first time. He is a great individual, great YouTuber. I watch him on the daily. He is my go-to for PlayStation gaming consoles. He is my go-to for tips on anything with Android or iOS, depending on what he uploads. And I want to bring him back. This is not a welcome, but a welcome back. I want to introduce you all to James, aka Blue Eyed Tech. Thank you, as always, guys, for making this special. I see everybody's clamoring. So I'm going to say this once, and I'm only going to say this again. Introducing, out in the blue corner, a tech YouTuber holding a professional record. 1 appearance, 0 letdown. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 185 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of California, San Francisco, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed blue-eyed tech channel in the world, James Blue-eyed Tech.
Hey, man, thanks. That was an excellent intro, man. I will take the 6 feet. I am definitely 6 feet. There you go.
That took a lot of. Oh man, I'm enjoying this. All right, everybody. This is James Blue-eyed Tech. A couple of you guys have seen him in the live stream. He has been with me since the early days, and it is great to have you back, James. Thank you for coming back.
Not a problem. Good to be back, man.
It is great. Now, Ashton, I see we got some new people in. Ashton, yeah. Now, let's start this up. So, I know I'm a little excited. I am definitely excited. So, guys, we're going to be on here for an hour. I am going to share this the link to a couple of individuals if you guys do consider wanting to go on. But before we start this, let me just run a quick run through with all my live streams. So, with all my live streams, I'd like to say to returning subscribers, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching me tonight. For those of you just tuning in for the first time, this is typically what I do. I love bringing people on. I love bringing invites out. I love to interact with people, and this is my way of getting people to come on. And James is one of the best examples that I have. He is truly one of the better individuals that I have gone live with. So if you all want to come on, I say it all the time, the platform is open. You are more than welcome to come on my channel. If you are a channel that is just starting out and need a little boost, I will definitely help you out in any way that I can. And James, I'm hoping that tonight we can introduce you to people. We can get you out there and also just show them what they've been missing. So, you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
You ready?
I've been ready. All right. Enough talking. Enough bull crap. Let's get right to it. So the first story up, we're going to start. Now, I know a couple of you guys are a little upset with T-Mobile, and I know that there are a little bit of sensitivity in the area right now with T-Mobile, but we are going to start with some T-Mobile news. We got two stories. We're going to get them out of the way. The first story up is, of course, Sprint and the T-Mobile merger. Now, James, I don't know if you know, but I'm going to say this right now. This T-Mobile merger has become pretty a mixed reaction from people not only in my stream, but from people that are continuing supporters of the T-Mobile network. There have been a lot of negativity, a lot of backlash, and for good reason. There have been some things that are questionable. There have been some questionable things. As you can see, people are not happy with T-Mobile. But according to the Phone Arena, and Adrian finally got off the casual alert because he's making reliable articles. Good for you, Adrian. I don't have to go casual on you. But according to the article, Sprint is technically going to still live on, technically through Best Buy. So here's how this works. On on August 2nd, I apologize. On August 2nd, the Sprint name, the Sprint brand, is going to be completely engulfed into T-Mobile. All of it's going to merge right into T-Mobile, and it will become their, quote, supercharged Un-carrier. However, though, there is a little bit of a twist, as Sprint has a deal with Best Buy to host their service. And at first, I thought this story was fake, but then I did a couple of background checks and a couple of digging, and it turns out that this is true. They are going to stay in stores, the Sprint name, but it will be gone at the end of the year. They're going to keep plans. They're going to value those plans, and also they're going to value the brand in Best Buy till the end of the year, and then they'll make the full transition into T-Mobile. So I want to ask you this question. First question up, do you think, in your opinion, do you think that they should just remove the Sprint branding, and they should just go right to T-Mobile on August 2nd in Best Buy?
Well, to me, it doesn't make really much sense. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm getting here is the fact that on August 2nd, they're going to have their Sprint branding in the Best Buy stores. Then at the end of the year, they're just going to get rid of that and then go fully over to T-Mobile. Is that what I'm getting at here?
From what it says, yes, the branding, the logo, the service, Sprint service is still going to be in Best Buy. At first, it doesn't sound right, but I did some background search. I have a couple of people that work for Best Buy, and they've been able to confirm this, that they're going to honor customers are going to honor this until the end of the year when their license expires, and then they will switch it over to T-Mobile. Because as of now, there's no T-Mobile in Best Buy. It's only Sprint, Verizon. I don't know about AT&T. I haven't been in Best Buy for a while, so I can't really say for certain.
I think AT&T is in there. Last time I was at a Best Buy, there was AT&T. Pretty much at this point, last time I was at Best Buy, it was Sprint, Verizon, AT&T. But yeah, T-Mobile's not there. But this seems kind of an odd move, though, considering the fact that it's going to be merging fairly shortly. So why wouldn't they just merge it sooner, I guess? I mean, to be frankly honest, the whole merger in and of itself, I'm not terribly a huge fan of, in the sense of just because I feel like it's less competition. There, you could face the possibility of just higher prices down the line. And then, because if you think of it, we had T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, and then all the other smaller phone networks sprinkling down below. But I feel like less competition equals the ability to actually have higher prices.
I see. Yeah, and we do know from the merger that Dish is supposed to become the new fourth carrier after this. After August 2nd, it will be 3 until, of course, Dish announces what they're going to do. Excuse me. Sorry. So I kind of thought this story was a little sketchy. I really didn't want to believe that they were going to keep a dead brand in. But then I looked at the details and I talked to the people on the side, and they were able to explain that they're just honoring the deal. They're honoring the customers and the service until they finally get a new deal with T-Mobile or whatever decides to take their place. For me, I agree. I think they should just remove the Sprint, period. They should just get rid of it and just switch it over to T-Mobile. Because at this point, Sprint has proven to be a deadweight in the cellular industry. They have not been the greatest float about. And I really don't understand what is the point. Because another thing I want to confirm, just got to confirm, that people that do sign up with Sprint in Best Buy, they're not signing up with Sprint service. It's going over to T-Mobile. So wouldn't it just make sense to just call it T-Mobile?
And that's the thing too, are the customers who are signing up for the Sprint service, is it fully transparent where they are fully aware they're signing up for a T-Mobile service? Because not everybody is paying attention to these kind of articles and are fully aware of the merger. I mean, I think a lot of people are, but there are going to be some customers who are going to be thinking they're signing up for Sprint, and in reality, they're going to be signing up for T-Mobile.
Yeah, I really kind of I don't know how to say this. Like, like those movies where like they put a mask over something and it seems so too good to be true, and then they reveal the mask and it's like something that, like Phantom of the Opera. You know how like the guy just always in the background, but you're curious about it, and then when he takes his mask off, he's completely not what he seemed to be. But it's everything that people love, supposedly.
Yeah.
That's T-Mobile for some. But I don't know. I feel like that doesn't make sense. I get they're wanting to honor this, but I am going to just be on record and say that and I agree with you, they should just remove Sprint. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam puts out a fair point. They are disorganized in the telecom. They won't win. They don't know how to compete on a merger and a large. And this is true, as evidence has proven that they weren't able to handle the merger of customers from the Sprint to their network because that day they had a cellular crash. The speeds have been incredibly terrible, which transitions right into our next story. So for me, I don't understand where these so-called analysis, this is our next story, are saying that T-Mobile's 5G offers, quote, nothing new, but it's still competitive. How is it competitive? And I want to explain because I'll go first with this one. Because I've seen some speed tests personally from here where I live. The cellular tower for 5G is not true 5G. That's a fact. You can't debate that. Because if it was true 5G, it would be like Verizon's 5G. That's like true fine wine. I don't know if you ever had like true fine where it's like good, it ages well. This doesn't age well. This feels more like advanced LTE. Now, the SMT, on the other hand, my friend Sam, who was just posted a couple seconds ago, he posts and sends links out on Twitter about speed tests. I get tagged all the time. And I'm not really surprised that, they don't offer anything new, but to say they're still competitive, I don't understand that. How are they competitive if their speeds are not living up to what is being promoted or advertised? I don't get it.
Yeah, and definitely, like you said, if their speeds are not being like performing as advertised, I mean, that's essentially, in my opinion, false advertisement. Like if you're advertising a certain speed and your speeds are not performing the way that you're advertising them as to be performing, I mean, that's just false advertisement, just in my opinion.
No, absolutely. And, I will say this to you, because there are a couple of guys here that are true, TNT, not TNT. I don't know what's happening to me. This happens whenever I'm like in the beginning, I just say things wrong. I don't know. But T-Mobile, there are people that actually have internal sources with Sam and his crew. I'm friends with them. There have been a lot of things going on behind the scenes that are contradicting, job layoffs and closing of stores. And, there's a lot of sketchy moves that they're making. And most recent thing that they've done was, in my opinion, false uncarrier move. They call the spam protection so-called uncarrier. But to me, that was just made because the FCC mandated that they need to have spam control, spam protection for their customers. That doesn't seem like an uncarrier move. Is it a severe thing? Is it something that is positive? Yes, that's good. You have good security, but I don't think that's a big, big move. And Mikey Tech Reviews, I did send a link out. Anybody in that I sent the link to, you're more than welcome to join in if you feel you want to discuss, add anything to the convo. But yeah, that was their so-called uncarrier move. I don't know if you've heard of that or if you've heard of the announcement.
No, I mean, to be frankly, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know a little bit about the merger and everything that was going on with that in the beginning. I kind of haven't really heard anything much about that, with the exception of a little bit here and there. I mean, but from what I have heard and from what you've just told me here, I don't know. The whole thing just, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of the merger from the get-go.
I can understand. I was one of those people that supported the merger. I was one of those people that, I truly believed that it would bring some good, but to see, and I think the real problem also is just how they're handling this. And I will say this, Mike Seaver, the new CEO, he is not, in my opinion, he's not making T-Mobile. He's making it feel like what it was in the past. Like the new
Mm.
T-Mobile is not the right. I made a video. I explained it. I had my evidence. John Ledger was the uncarrier. John Ledger, the former CEO, he was the guy responsible for bringing T-Mobile into this picture. And once he left, everything went downhill from there.
Yeah.
And,
Unfortunately, yeah. That's pretty
sorry,
much.
I was just
No, no,
reading
no,
the
no, no.
comment.
I was pretty much just agreeing with you on that one. It's definitely once John Ledger left. I mean, that's kind of when things kind of start going downhill.
Yeah, and I will say this, there have been a lot of people that say Verizon is now the new uncarrier. You know what? They're true. They're making more consumer-friendly moves. They're more for consumers, and that's rare coming from a company that charges so much. But they've proven it, and I think I'm going to focus on Verizon in a little bit. Not now, but eventually when we cross that bridge.
Yeah.
But that's all the T-Mobile news. So now let's move over to let's move over to Samsung. I want to take a couple seconds with Samsung. So I don't know if you know anything about what's going on with the Galaxy Unpacked event, but I have been covering this. I have been trying to, have some emotion, have some kind of investment. And I've called them out. I've made videos after videos, and it does nothing, James. And I don't know if you saw my recent new series that I debuted, Let's Be Real, where I basically sit down and I'm not doing anything comedic, no skits. It's just me being upfront, 100% honest, like I always am, but no jokes, and I have evidence to back up what I say. And in that video, I said there is no point in a live event. There is no point in having these events anymore. At this point, there are too much leaks. There are too much deliberation happening that I do not believe that these events should happen. Have you seen what's been posted? I mean, because if you see the amount of things that were leaked, even you would have to look at this and say, what's the point of watching?
Yeah, I mean, like, I haven't seen the leaks really at all, though. But to cover just leaks in general, I mean, like when things leak to a severe extent, it kind of takes, because the whole purpose of these events is to basically reveal whatever it is you're going to reveal, whether it's hardware or software. And if a majority of the information is already leaked and a lot of the public actually knows about what you're going to reveal, it takes away that shock factor from having the event at all. There's no point in having the event when the public already knows about what you're going to reveal.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people on the internet right now that are just milking these leaks for what they can get. There was Tech Talk TV. This dude, Sal, he to me, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just gonna say it like it is. He's the epitome of clickbait. He never shows his face. He's always showing these so-called exclusive leaks that are basically just people giving them crap to post. And he, to me, is the epitome of an Android fanboy running an Android channel. He whenever he talks about Apple, it's always negativity. But when his Android leaks come out, he's like, "Oh, it's so revolutionary." And don't tell me I'm racist, because I'm Indian too, so I can mark that guy. but this dude is the epitome of a clickbaiter. And I am not trying to say he's bad, but he's been posting videos about the Galaxy Watch. He says that it's an exclusive to his channel. You know what? Hey, exclusive to you, but you just ruined the event and surprise. And Jimmy's promo is leaking the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Every day he's making new videos. And at this point, what is left? The screen ratio? What is there left to watch? The Galaxy Bud Beans were announced. The Tab S7 was announced. The Galaxy Z Flip, the Fold 2, the Z Flip 2, whatever, they're all announced. And now Samsung and I'm going to show this to you because this is my first time actually watching this. So this is going to be a first time for both of us.
Awesome. All right.
So this is an actual legitimate trailer that was not leaked by anybody but Samsung themselves. Now, we're going to watch this together. I'm going to pull it up in full screen. And we're going to watch this. Hold on one second. Can you see it?
Yep. Nope. I'm good.
All right. Well, it's good to watch. Now, there is no sound playing, but this is for Unpacked 2020. Now, obviously, this is kind of a teaser that they're going for. They're advertising. This is stuff you expect. I'm cool with that. But now we get to a part in the video that is that poster. Here we go. You know, Samsung is promoting that they're innovating. They're innovating. Okay, right there. August 5th, 2020, that image right there just sealed to me the deal. That just sealed the deal on pretty much everything we've known. So I want to ask you, um, is there even a point watching this event? Is there even anything left to be excited for?
No, I mean, if the leaks have already kind of exposed what the event's going to basically entail, I mean, I don't see the excitement behind it. Okay. Let me. I guess the closest example I could probably use for this, and I guess the only thing I think of is like in the gaming community with video games, The Last of Us Part 2. Some major, without getting into it, some major plot points leaked about the game. So I kind of thought to myself, what's the point of playing the game when you already know some major plot points and things like that, so on and so forth. I'm only using that as an example for this situation here because it seems like that's kind of the same situation because you basically know what the event's going to be about. You know what's going to be revealed. So what's the point of seeing the event when you already know what to expect?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, Tito, to me, my friend, he just said it perfectly. There are some people that do want to see this event and they want to be surprised, have a shock factor, but you're not getting it when people just deliberately are leaking it. And, some of it is also in part of Samsung because I called it out on my video. I said, if Samsung claims these are accidental for these people that are leaking this stuff, how come there is no how come there's no repercussions to those users? Why are the videos not taken down? Or why is there no statement? Nothing. Well, it's simple. They're letting it happen. They're letting them get away with it, and they just don't care. So if they don't care, why should I care? Why should you care? And the way I'm telling everybody right now, I am not watching this event. I am actually going to make a blindfold reaction. And I'm literally going to go in blindfold, not watch this event. I'm going to film it, and we'll see how much I get right. And if I get at least maybe 75% right, that proves I don't need to watch the event to know what's happening. I don't want to, I don't want to be like this. I want to have excitement. But it sucks because I'll be honest, a lot of people don't like Apple, but Apple doesn't ever let this stuff happen. I've never seen an Apple product leak out like this into the public. The only time it ever did happen would probably be in a beta code, an iOS beta code. So that says to me more how secure Apple is with their presentations. And when people, leak their presentations and their slides, there is action taken. They find out who sent it to somebody. They pull that person, release them from the company, take the slides down. This happened to John Prosser. I don't know what happened to the person, but John found out that those slides were not supposed to be leaked, and whoever he gave it to him probably was going to get in trouble. So Apple does take steps to take repercussions. So my follow-up, and then I guess we can talk about what's in this. Does this say that Samsung just doesn't care, that they're just going to let it happen every year?
I mean, if it tends to be kind of a recurring event where there's no repercussions for these leaks, I mean, like how you were just saying, like Apple really holds their stuff close to the chest, and the things that do leak out are small things, or it is nothing major to the point where you see it like this. And when you see that there's no repercussions behind the actions of the leak, it does make you kind of wonder: does Samsung really even care if the leaks happen or not? And that kind of also puts a bad taste in the consumer's mouth, in my opinion, because if the company that's making the product that wants to deliver to you doesn't care if you watch their event or not, because that's what it sends to me. It sends to me if they don't care that you get the leak, that means they also don't care if you watch their event.
And just want a quick follow-up. Tito, that is actually also on slate for tonight. Thank you for pointing that out. We're going to get to that right after. But take a look at this image. This literally just tells us everything we knew. I predicted all this, and I didn't even need to follow the leaks. I predicted that they were working on a follow-up to the Fold. They were doing, obviously, the Note. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
The Galaxy Bud Beans, I said, were possibly going to be released in August, even though I was on record saying that would be a mistake. I even predicted the time before they announced when it was going to be announced. And I'm not saying I'm the one that did this, but I'm just saying it's common sense that tells me. The Galaxy Watch we knew about. So this literally is everything that is getting unveiled. what possibly could they release that would be a shocker? Oh, a 5G version of the Z Flip? Like, they already released that too. There is nothing. There is nothing here that shouts any kind of surprise, any kind of investment. And with that said, I now would like to introduce you, James, where I'm going to add in another user. He is, again, the man that hounds it all the time, the SMT Sneed Mobile Tech. I want to introduce you to him because he is a very good dude as well. Sam, thank you for coming in.
You're welcome, man. Hey, James.
Hey, what's up, Sam? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Doing good.
Sam, we were talking about investment, intentional leaks. You have also been on record pointing out how these things are intentional, not just from Samsung, but from the users. Now that Samsung has pretty much confirmed everything we know, there is no surprise. Unless, of course, I'm wrong. I would like to be wrong. I'll ask you the same questions I asked James. Why should we invest our time and energy to this event? Why? And should we even?
I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't waste much time with it. I mean, you could watch a 5-minute recap of the entire event probably while the event's still finishing. You know, it's freaking crazy. Like the creators that are into doing these summaries and all that, like, you know, recaps of the events, they're making content at the event during the event. And they also receive like early access to certain devices, and they've already hands-on, they've seen the device. I mean, they upload videos of the device as the event's going on, and it's like review Samsung Galaxy Note 20. You'll see, bro. It happens all the time. Every major device launch has a dozen full reviews before they even finish the launch event. The embargo lifts and it's all out. Marquez, you know, Mr. Mobile, all the bigger tech content creators, they're done. I mean, I don't look at it and get excited about it because I've already seen the phone 4 or 5 times. And to be honest with you, where I'm at in my smartphone wants, the Note's not doing it for me. I used to own 2 Notes. They were the first Notes I ever owned. I'm liquidating Samsung Galaxy Notes. They're buggy. They've got small batteries. I probably won't buy another Note ever again. So I'm not only not interested in the phone, but I also don't like the format that you're talking about with the leaks and then leading up to the launch event and the whole, you know, thing. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm maybe back in the day, like, I don't know. You guys remember like the era of like 2012, 2013, when you had like new designs coming to smartphones, like the
I remember
HTC
that.
One M7, the iPhone got a redesign after the 5S. Like all that stuff was cool because we were getting larger displays, we were getting new design language. That was kind of exciting. But you know, I mean, where are smartphones at right now, man? They're kind of whatever. You know, it's been the same for a while.
James, would you like to follow up?
No, I mean, pretty much he hit the nail on the head with that one. I pretty much agree with everything you just said right there, man. I mean,
no excitement for it, James. Nothing.
Not really. No.
Yeah.
No. I'm not really. To be frank, like while I will acknowledge that like Android does have some cool things on their side like that, I am kind of stuck in the Apple ecosystem kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I do like some of the stuff Android has, but like on their with their stuff, but I don't know.
Do you get excited for the Apple events?
Yeah, I'll watch. I definitely get excited for the Apple event. It depends on like what's coming out and things like that. I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. I tend to usually get excited for either October, not the September, because September we know iPhones and stuff are coming. But I'm more of the guy that's like outside of iPhone. So for example, like iPad, maybe Apple TV, or maybe
iPad
even a new
cool.
audio, like something like that. Because
Right.
iPhones we know are coming every year, and Apple Watch we always know are coming. But I'm always kind of interested to see what they refresh that hasn't been refreshed in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I don't blame you for being more excited, James. If you're more excited for that, not even unbiased, it's just Apple keeps it more locked up because there are repercussions taken if you mess. Like I said, Front Page Tech, he leaked out those slides, and when those slides got leaked out, Apple contacted him or the person that gave it to him, and obviously they were taken down within maybe an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Apple definitely locks up their stuff. But that's it for the Samsung event, because at this point, like I said, I'm gonna film that video, and I'm gonna go in blindfolded. I'm not gonna make a reaction. I'm just gonna do it on the spot. I don't need to watch it to know what's gonna happen. I'm telling you guys right now. Anyway, it looks like we got a lot more people in the chat. We got Subwoofer Boss 1996. Thank you for coming in. Who else did we see? I saw a new face in here. Rob. It's good to have you on, Rob. Let's see who else we got in here. I just saw a couple faces, and then we will move on to this story real fast. Maybe I passed it. It's too far. I give up searching. Tito, if you are interested, you're more than welcome to come on. You want to add to this? You're more than welcome to add on. I told you, the platform is open. Also for you, Alex, it's in the link. I sent it to everybody. All right. So keeping up with Apple, we're going to segue in. Their new MacBook Pros. So there have been a lot of buzz about the silicone or ARM-based CPUs. A lot more people, there have been some false rumors being spread from 9 to 5 Mac saying that Apple is making Intel CPU refreshed Macs. John Prosser has come out and said, no, that's not happening. And now we are getting rumors now from benchmark scores that the Apple ARM-based processors have gotten another performance boost. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was actually in the middle of reading this article as we were going live, James, because when you were waiting, I was just reading. I was trying to get a grab. But from what I was able to gather, it seems from what I was able to see that the Geekbench score apparently for the ARM-based iMac or Mac Mini is this exact here from their Mac Mini with the ARM. So you can see multi-core is 4,296 and 1,107 on single core. Now, compared that to the earlier leaks that were happening before, where the single core was around 900, 800, and the multi-score was just about 4,000, the single score has gone up. But the multi-score, definitely, I think they're going to tweak it because this is not going to happen for a while. They've said the transition will start 2021. So I want to ask you guys. We'll start with James, and then Sam, you get to go ahead. Because of these ARM-based CPUs, and I've been saying it'll equal better optimization, better, Apple ecosystem integration. But do you see any potential errors, any potential problems with these ARM-based CPUs at launch? And James, go ahead.
With the ARM-based CPUs, I definitely think that there could be a potential for obviously any kind of issues, though. But these are going to be ARM-based. These ARM-based CPUs are going to be something they're going to be able to develop a little bit in-house kind of thing. These are going to be their own kind of like CPUs are going to be put in their computers. But I don't think we're going to see too many problems with this. Honestly, when it comes to Macs, I've never had any issues whatsoever, and I just don't predict that we'll see too many problems with these going forward with the ARM-based CPUs.
I think the only problem that most of the MacBook issues, when they used to have problems, was always the heating. Were they able to keep the machines cool enough because they're pro grade, so they're powerful, but they try to keep everything tight, compact, and space becomes an issue in trying to, actively, remove heat from the machines. Yeah. I mean, as long as they don't have to thermal throttle these things, whether it's through software or fail safes, they should be okay. I mean, they should be fine. James, you mentioned that they've always been good devices. I think you're right. I mean, when people spend the money on these devices, the expectation is it'll be a good performer. I mean, Apple's not going to drop a dud, outside of some freak thing where they have failures. They usually drop some pretty well-developed technology. So I'd expect it to be good. I mean, I don't know benchmark scoring. So, like, when you read off those numbers, I have nothing to go off of. Like, I don't know what that means. But they're basically saying that the scores are better than what was first reported. Well, that's good. So that should make some geeks happy, right?
The only negative that I see from this, because I do watch bench scores a lot when it comes to CPU tests, it's not performing on the level of an i7. It's around an i3 and i5 performance when it comes to the multi-score. But I think they could tweak that. They're using an A12Z. So that's the updated Apple CPU that's in the iPad Pro. I think, in my opinion, you're not gonna use an A12Z. It's too. You know what it is? Let me put it to you this way: the A12Z was designed for a tablet. You're putting this into a computer. Even though you can optimize it with different 32 bits, 64 bit. It doesn't matter how you optimize. it was designed for a specific device.
So
The
are you
chip.
saying that they're not doing enough? They're not putting a strong enough chipset in there, or
I think so.
a
I think so.
processor?
I
Okay.
think so. Because if you really want to make pro performance, not only are you going to have to up the core, but you're also, in my opinion, you're going to have to make it not smaller. You're going to have to enlarge the chip because I believe the A12Z is about maybe 5 nanometers, maybe 4. Depends how small they've got those CPUs. You know, as small as they are, they pack
All right.
power. But
Yeah.
you need more space. You need more GPU. You need more performance. And when I look at those bench scores, you know, I'm not too excited, but I'm not disappointed at the same time.
So this
I'm
thing
just,
has a i5 processor.
what are you talking about?
This, or can you choose? Like I remember, historically you've been able to choose different processors for different Mac products, right?
Yes.
Is it coming just with an i5, or can you get an i7 or?
Well, for now, you can get the Intel I processors for now because once they switch over to their ARM-based processors, no more Intel.
Okay,
Intel's
so
gone.
will they compare? Are they going to be comparable to what they were doing with the i5s and the i7s? I think.
That's what we're hoping for because
Okay.
there's another in the article. It explains that Apple is considering adding spec up versions of those CPUs, just like what I said. The bigger, the better. So who knows? Because the one thing I can confirm, and if anybody doesn't believe me on this, you could say all you want. I've been right a couple of times here and there. This is not only going to be an effector on the price, but it is also going to be a how do I say this? A judgment on what model you get. For example, now you have the MacBook Air, the MacBook
Mhm.
Pros. So that's going to help either reduce the cost or help to increase the cost depending on the performance, depending on how. But I also think it also solidifies the Mac because the Mac for me, I have personal experience from this. My uncle has a 2011 MacBook Pro. He is still using it. It's on High Sierra, but he can get Mojave, but it is still running. It still receives security updates, and he says he has never experienced an issue since. The only issue is just a battery issue. That's it.
Do these devices sell? Like do MacBook Pros sell well? Or was there a problem with their sales that made them want to go in a different direction? Or is it just Apple being Apple and trying to increase their profitability?
James, I'm going to let you answer this one if you think you know.
Honestly, when it comes to that, I think it is a mix of both because I have seen quite a few people I work with in the job I'm in. We are always on our computers a lot. And what I do, because we had to enter in our schedules and stuff like that, quite a few of them have a mix between the Air and the ones that my coworkers that do have Macs have a mixture of between Pros and the Airs. So I think what it is, I think that they wanted to have the Air available to the customer, basically the consumer who wanted to get into the Apple ecosystem on more of a budget, while they had the higher tier, like the Pros, available for people who wanted to kind of drop the little bit more money on it and things like that. Though I personally think, especially this time around, though, with the MacBook Air that recently got refreshed and got sold this year for I think it was like $999. I definitely think they sold more of those this year. I know I got myself one, and I love it. I honestly and like you're saying, you said your uncle has a 2011 Pro.
My wife has a 2013 model MacBook Air.
And same here. I had a 2013 MacBook Air until I upgraded to the 2020 model, and that's one thing. That's one thing that Apple definitely does really well, is they make very long-lasting products so you can hold on to for many, many years. Now, granted, that's great though, but that also in of itself does cut into their bottom line also, though, because think of it this way: like if those 2011, 2013 MacBook Air, MacBook Pros weren't working, they would have to eventually go buy a new one. But the fact they could hold on to it for almost a decade and having no issues outside the battery, I mean, there's no incentive to upgrade as much as you would upgrade your phone or upgrade anything else. I'm not saying you should get a new computer every year, but on the same hand, it's like I've had a PC before or like a laptop or whatever like that, and it wasn't like anything beefy or specced out, so that, but I had viruses and all that kind of crap. Something I would never. I don't really have that many issues on my Mac, but I remember I had to go replace that laptop a lot sooner than I would have if I had my 2013 Mac.
Yeah, and I have the 2017 MacBook Pro, the one that they claim has so many heating issues. I haven't noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had solid performances since a day I got it out of the box. My keyboards, they say that this is the faulty keyboard. I still have not gotten a crumb stuck in it. It hasn't had any sticky keys. So for me, I'm satisfied with my MacBook Pro. I think I'm going to keep this for a long time. My Apple Care actually expires at the end of this year. I'm going to do what my uncle did, get a battery replacement for free, and then the next 3 years it'll last it. And then from there, I'll just hook it up to my monitor and leave it there for the rest of its remainder of time.
Send it out to me. I'll replace that battery for you, bro. I got you.
All right, deal. Bet. You got a deal. All right, so we're almost through the show. We got a couple more stories. I am going to add in a little bit more because we are making some good time. But now let's move over to Google. So, guys, the mid-range market has really picked up. The mid-range market has officially overthrown the premium flagships. I don't know in what parallel universe that's ever happened, but 2020 has proven to be the year of the mid-range. I started a series calling The Rise of Mid-Ranges. I have been neglecting to follow through, but I think I'm going to have to add an extra 2 parts to cover 2020. As bad as this year is, we have seen some crazy mid-ranges come out, from TCL, the 10 Pro, and I'll get to that phone after, to the Google Pixel 3a. Well, that's 2019. But now with the reported 4a, the OnePlus Nord, the Samsung A71 5G. The mid-range market has officially taken blossom. It was something that I saw a year ago. And Sam, you were there. You saw the videos. You saw what I was saying. People called me and said, you don't know what you're saying. I said it. The mid-range market is going to outperform the flagships. At one point, you doubted me.
I don't get the mid-range market. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand why it exists.
It's making the money somehow.
I don't understand. You can buy a flagship from 2019, a brand new in the box. You know, I think what happens is consumers don't know these things are available. Like, some people don't know they can go on eBay and buy an S10 Plus for $400, brand new, right?
That's
they don't
true.
know. They don't know they can buy,
phone
I don't know, another example, maybe an LG V50 or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the 2019 flagships that are a year old exactly, brand new in the box for a third of the price that they were last year. Which those phones from 2019, those flagships, are better than the mid-rangers 3 years from now. A Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 is a better chipset than any mid-range processor in 2022 or 2023. And the camera will be better on an LG V50 than any mid-ranger in 2023. So I don't get mid-rangers personally.
DJ just said it right there. That's my only argument. That's all I got to say.
I don't understand how.
James, go ahead. But before James, just want to shout out Gene for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Go ahead, James.
No, just kind of. Well, as far as mid-range phones, I think. Well, to you, Sam, that you could just get it on eBay. I think a lot of people out there kind of feel a little sketchy about buying tech on eBay sometimes, especially when it comes to phones, because they're afraid about being scammed, and so on and so forth. And also when you go into like stores like Best Buy or and things like that, though, they'll start phasing out the older phones to bring in the new ones, so the older phones are not as easy to come across. I think what they kind of figure is, I'll go with the mid-range phone because it's cheaper, but it's also still kind of new, and I get kind of the newer tech, but not having to pay the high price. And so I can see your point, but that's the problem, is I think a lot of people get a little nervous about buying things online from like strangers they don't even know.
I know Amazon has that program, don't they? Amazon's got some sort of a refurb program where they give you like a certified device. You know, even some are from like the year model. It's like, which that could be probably a more trustworthy option for those people, I think. But they don't know these things exist. You know, they don't. That's
true. To be frank, to be completely honest with you, I didn't know that existed until you just mentioned it right there. I was like, I didn't even hear about it. So I'll look into that. That sounds interesting. But yeah, people might trust something like Amazon a little bit more than they would trust eBay or any of these other sites out there. And but I mean, and I honestly, I'm a believer that some of these mid-range phones aren't terrible. I mean, like one of the ones I got the 10R when it came out, and I still have it right now, and it's still, for me, it's a good phone. I like it. And
the S might be the exception to the rule, right? Like that thing's $400 and it's like a flagship. You know,
the new
because
SE that came out.
because the chipset, the
Yeah.
cameras, like
Yeah.
it performs like a flagship, really.
It's
Yeah,
just in a
no.
different form of like a smaller device.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
I
like,
will say
yeah.
this. Oh, go ahead, James.
No. I was gonna just say, yeah, it's basically the body of an iPhone 8 with the internal specs of a flagship phone.
Yeah, the iPhone SE has proven. I think there's a market for people that want smaller phones, but I mean, I can never see myself using it again after
Coming from a Note 10 Plus, right?
coming from a Note. But I will say though, there is one company that really did hit the nail on the mid range. That kind of did start this. They didn't really start it, but they did have a good advantage. It was Google with the 3A and the 3A XL. Because I remember that phone was all over the place in 2019. Even though it had a 670, a lot of people were making waves because compared to the Pixel 3, it was like night and day. A lot of people were liking that it had a headphone jack, that it had about the same camera quality. Some people preferred that the plastic back versus the glass back. That some people just want fast charging, and some people preferred having all day battery life. And I guess I don't know. I never was into it, but I can understand the hype, especially from T-Mobile, because they were pushing a lot of sales with that phone. Well, there's a problem, guys. Google is behind schedule. They've been behind schedule for like 3 months straight on the Pixel 4a.
Mhm.
I have been covering this. I have been trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And it looks like we finally have some clear recognition. We got a visual idea of when we might see this phone, but then it poses a problem for me. So according to John Prosser, who has finally come back out from God knows where he's been hiding, I have a feeling because of all those Apple. And I'm not making fun of John. I'm just saying because.
So you're saying he's been laying low, basically.
I think he's been laying low. He's like it's like El Chapo and Sean when they did that interview. It's like you might want to go hiding because the cartel's probably gonna come find you.
Yeah,
So
right,
Sean Penn says like, yeah, you may want to go on the down low for a little while.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he's back. He's in the full circle, and he has come out and said that this is 100%. He stands by. August 3rd is going to be the day of the reveal. Now he doesn't exactly say why, but I have a feeling it's to contradict the Pixel and the Note event. Have two phones at the same time. However, though, we have one problem. Yesterday, or a few days ago, the OnePlus Nord came out. Everybody is raving this phone. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up here. The reviews have been sensational. People are saying this is the true definition of what a mid-range should be. It gives you premium, flagship experience look, glass back, metal frame, no compromises, maybe no headphone jack, but at this point I really think we're dead. But it gives you a nice display, it gives you a quad camera setup, and people are just saying, you know something, Google? Don't even release your phone. Don't release the 4A. There are people, I will find the review. I'm going to find it right now, guys. I'm going to pull it up right now. There is a review, and I swear on everything I love, there were people in the comment section that said, Google, don't release the 4A. Don't release it. Just skip it. Just make your flagship, price that at a mid-range, and just don't do it. A lot of people are saying, oh, go ahead.
The 3A was the best-selling phone they ever made. And the 3A XL.
I know, but here's the problem. The OnePlus Nord kind of set a new standard for mid-range. Because most mid-ranges, they use LCD displays or some of them AMOLED displays.
Okay.
Samsung is one of the few.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them use a plastic back, and most of the body is plastic. OnePlus Nord gave you a flagship build, aluminum chassis with a glass back. Now, we don't know what Gorilla Glass, some people are saying Gorilla Glass 5. So you get durability. Mm-hmm. You're getting a OLED display, AMOLED at 1080p, 90 hertz. No mid-range has 90 hertz, unless, of course, you want to say last year's flagship, or we could go that route.
No,
but
I think you're right there.
But
but it's not even sold here. Why wouldn't Google, which is an American company, want to bring out the successor to the best-selling phone they ever had?
We're going to get to that. That's my first question, because then I'm going to ask you about the OnePlus Nord after. But that's my question. Should Google release the 4A? Because with the people, and I'm saying it right now, the Android community are pushing for the OnePlus Nord to come to America. And I'll follow up with that after. But the question is, can Google even capitalize on this? The Nord has taken all of the energy, has taken all of the hype that the 4A once had. And people are just like, you know what? We look at the 4A. I don't think I want to look at that anymore. Because the Nord, I did the rough estimates. That phone's like $400, $500. The Pixel 4A is rumored to be priced at around maybe $300, $400, depending if they have 5G. That comes with 5G standard. It uses the 765G. So my question to you guys, and Sam, you can start this. Can Google pull this off?
Yeah, because I was invited to Team Pixel, Google, whatever last week or 2 weeks ago. So there's something coming. I think that date's probably right.
How was I not invited?
I have no idea because I didn't even try, dude. This guy reached out to me on Twitter. He goes, "Hey, I want to send you this invite for Team Google or something." I was like, "All right." Send me the email. I did a little bit of question. Bro, I'll send you whatever they send me. How's that, bro? You could be a part of the YouTube Blue Eye Tech. You guys can have it all. I will send it all to you. All right. Because so I think the timing aligns. I think that date's probably spot on, and Prosser always gets all this info anyways. So but dude, the 4A successor to the 3A, XL versions, these are the best selling phones Google has ever made. It would be idiotic for them not to follow it up, especially when things have been quiet with releases from like notable brands, right? So, and they're not going to sell the larger phone unless it's under $800. Nobody wants those phones. A lot of people call them the iPhone of Google. No, it is not the iPhone. There is no iPhone for Google. Google phones are ugly. Google phones are expensive, and they don't sell. So, and it's really hard to sell a flagship and make money if you have to sell it for $799, right? So ask LG how that's going, right? They're basically a dinosaur smartphone company. They're like going extinct. Ask HTC how flagships went for them at the end,
They're
right?
gone.
So I like, to me, this is going to be their best selling phone of the year as it was last year. So they got to drop it. The Nord's not competition because the Nord's not here. So to me, they need to follow up. It would be foolish for them not to. Go ahead, James.
No, you're completely right on that one, though, because I don't understand why they wouldn't want to actually make a successor to the most popular phone. And like you just said, the Nord is not even in the United States right now. So the Nord is not even at this point in time is not really a concern as far as competition goes over here. So I don't see any reason as to why they wouldn't want to make the 4A.
The Nord would have to get into cell phone carriers. It would have to get into the smartphone, the service like carrier stores to sell. Like you would have to have it at T-Mobile. You would have to have it at Verizon and AT&T, because we've even seen what OnePlus has struggled with. Their OnePlus 8 is not selling at Verizon. Their OnePlus 8 is selling a little bit at T-Mobile, right? So it's hit or miss depending on who's pushing what. Verizon is focusing on iPhones and Galaxies, so they don't sell a lot of OnePlus 8s, and T-Mobile pushes the OnePlus devices, so they sell a little bit. You have to get in carrier stores. That's the only way. If that thing came to this country, it's got to get in carrier stores. That's where people upgrade, man.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think that Google should capitalize on this. I would love to have been invited for Team Pixel, but somebody didn't get the memo. But I'm cool with the 4A. I think even with all the competition and all the buzz that the Nord is making, you're right. It's not in the US. It's not going to impact their sales, and I think they could capitalize at a good price point at $399. I think that's a good price point for the 4A. Maybe 4A 5G would be $399, $499. I don't know. But you're right. I absolutely agree with you. I personally would like to see the 4A 5G, the 4A, whatever they do with it. And hey, I'll be honest with you. I've been thinking of switching to a mid-range just to see what's all the hype, not as my daily flagship, but just to review it, just to see what people are so compelled to buy it. I haven't had the opportunity to, so Team Pixel hit me up.
Is cost the most important thing for these phones? Can we kind of like agree on that? It's cost.
I think it's cost. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means 5G should be a no-no because that's going to add an unnecessary cost to these mid-range phones. Like we're literally talking about a $50 to $100 increase in cost just in the bill of materials by putting in a 5G capable chip. So I would say, for the sake of price tag, keep it under $500. Don't put 5G in it because if they end up putting a 5G chipset in there, it's going to be $599. Who's going to buy it?
Yeah.
Everybody's expecting.
Yeah. 500 definitely should be like kind of the cutoff point right there for a mid-tier phone.
I think that's what the A71 5G is priced at, $599. I think that's the cutoff.
Yeah.
I think that's as high as they go. But speaking of the OnePlus Nord, that was my next question. And then James, you could take it over. We're gonna let you take over with Xbox and PlayStation. I'll follow in. Sam, I don't know how good you are with that, so
I have an Xbox. Let's do it. I got it. I got one.
All
okay,
right.
We're good. All right. So here's my follow up to the OnePlus Nord. It's making a lot of buzz. There is a lot of circulation. There are a lot of people that are hyping up the Nord. People are saying the reviews are claiming that this thing sets a new standard, like I said, making a mid-range feel. Basically, it's a OnePlus phone all over again, basically. The only difference is it's just called a mid-range. I've always said it many times. OnePlus phones have always been mid-ranges. It's just the 8 Pro that kind of brought it to a flagship. But here's my question to you guys. Was it a mistake for OnePlus to launch the Nord outside of the US, looking at the reviews and looking at the feedback that what they're getting? And I'm going to let James start.
Honestly, but I don't know if I would say it was a mistake to launch it outside the US. So, because if you think about it, though, now people in this country see the Nord, they know they can't have it because it's not here, so they want it just that much more. So if it was to come to this country, then people would, after seeing all the positive reviews and just getting a look at this phone and not being able to get their hands on it, I think once it comes to this country, people are going to definitely want to buy it. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a mistake to launch it outside the country.
Okay.
I mean, they targeted India with this device, and India has 1.5 billion people. I think they're wise to launch it in India. We have 0.3 billion people. So I think that market makes sense for them. And they already have a presence. I mean, even their parent company, right, Oppo, they have a presence there as well. That design language, the name recognition is there. What was that other phone that they had back in the day? There was like a mid-ranger that sold around $400. The OnePlus X. That was like an international phone. It was an international release. It didn't come here. So I think they're kind of used to it. Dude, when Apple dropped the $399 SE, they rerouted this phone. This thing was coming to America, and I think they canceled it here. As soon as Apple dropped the SE, this thing busted a U-turn. Seriously, bro. It's not going to sell. They're going to want to sell for $450, $499. It ain't selling here, bro.
I believe you. And I'm not going to say it was a mistake. I would say it's 50-50 because, like you said, India, China, the third world countries kind of have more population, more recognition with these brands. So it's going to sell so much better. God damn you, Staten Islanders! I hear the stupid motorcyclists out there. That's all they do, these Staten Islanders. They just ride the goddamn...
It's the summer, dude. Chill out.
They do it all year round.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, I always say it's a mistake because looking at how people are now craving this phone, you got Marquez, you got Jerry Rig, you got Unbox Therapy, you got all these American guys hyping up a phone you can't own. And now the people are like, you know what, we want this. So I don't understand why you give them, because they're Americans. More Americans watch them than anybody in the world. Maybe Marquez gets an exception because they, foreign countries give them their phone. That's probably the only exception. But a majority of Unbox Therapy viewers are from America. Jerry Rig viewers are from America. The only time he ever diverses out is when he goes to Vivo and Apple, but we haven't seen most of those phones on his chopping board.
Right.
So I think for me, the only mistake they made was pumping this phone in the United States, like by giving them to those guys. Because when you gave it to them, their videos go all over the world. And more Americans watch Unbox Therapy and Jerry Rig more. That's why their views are a lot, I wouldn't say as high as Marquez, but they're almost at peak. Because Marquez is supposed to hit that region. But when you got American dudes making this video about a phone you can't own that performs well, and their views are starting to climb, I think it shows. There's a market, there is a reason, and there's a purpose. But, it's a prerogative. That's just my opinion. All right, now let's get to the Xbox and PlayStation, and then we're going to wrap up the show. We're already in an hour, so we're only going to be on here for like maybe 15 more minutes, so we'll try to do this best you can. So, James, I'm going to let you run this. I'll break down the story. You describe it. You do what you got to do, because this is your territory. This is your region.
Yeah.
All right.
I love me some PlayStation and Xbox, but if anybody could do it better, it's you. So I picked out 2 stories for you to talk about. You can add on anything you like. So first off, let's take a look at Xbox Series X. So according to The Guardian, apparently Microsoft's studio has come out and said that their games are no longer going to be defined by the technology. So in the article, they explained that they don't want their hardware to define them as the company, because every time an Xbox console comes out, I never hear anybody talk about the games. I only hear, oh, it's got better graphics, or it's a Microsoft, or anything other than Halo. So this time around, they're like, we are going to try and rejuvenate ourselves by making better content games, by making more quality, if I say so myself. And they're just going to try to be defined in a different route. So, James, I'll let you take the floor. My question is, where do you see Microsoft heading into this new console war that we're going into?
Well, definitely when it comes to this new console we're heading into, the Series X and the PS5, Microsoft definitely has to focus on getting better games. Now, I'm not saying games like Halo and Gears of War are bad games by any stretch of the imagination, but if you really think about it, try to think when it comes to PlayStation, you could think of Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank. You could name games like one right after the other. With Xbox, you really don't. I just, me personally, I just don't feel you get the same cinematic quality of games and the same plethora of games you get on PlayStation. And like I said, that's not to say that Xbox doesn't have some great games, but you just can't. When you think Xbox, you think, and the one argument I constantly hear about Xbox is, oh, they're more powerful. They're more powerful than the PlayStation. And whether that is true or not, you can have all the power in the world. You can have all the power in the world for your console, but if you have no games to utilize that power, then what's the purpose of it? I mean, honestly, I have both. I have a PS4 and a Xbox One S. I love both the consoles, but I play on my PlayStation more though, because I love the games
Titles,
that are on that system.
Right.
Exactly. And that's the
Can I ask you something, James? Like, has anybody ever said my PlayStation feels underpowered? Is that a thing?
Thank you, Carlos, for the $10 super chat.
I was gonna say, because if you're insisting that the Xbox is more powerful, you must also be saying that the PlayStation is not powerful enough for you to prefer the Xbox for power, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I don't see it that way.
Yeah, that's the thing that's crazy though. In fact, it's like, and you look at some of these graphics comparisons and things that you see on YouTube, I think it's ridiculous because they pixel count, and when you really look at it, they have these side-by-side comparisons. Now, will one look slightly better than the other? Yes. But it's not like the other one looks like trash while the other one looks fantastic. They both look great. Mm-hmm. But it's like, where do you want? And that's the thing. And that's when it comes to, and part of me is kind of like, when it comes to exclusives, I love Uncharted. That's one of my favorite game franchises of all time on the PlayStation. I would love it if it was uncompromised and had all of the same voice actors and same great storyline. It would not kill me if it came over to Xbox and more platforms. I would love, that is one of the kind of games I feel more people should experience because it is that great of a game. But on the same hand too, I do like the exclusives. I do like having games I can only get on my PlayStation. It's a double-edged sword for me though. But I mean, I definitely feel that exclusives, and exclusives in a way do sell the console.
Yeah,
they do. I mean, but and the console does sometimes sell itself because there are more people out there who are going to buy the Series X solely based off the fact that it has more power, not so much the games. And there's going to be people out there who are going to buy it based off the games and not the hardware. So it's, I don't know. I could go on forever about this though, but to wrap it up, basically, it's power is important, but it isn't the sole driving factor. I think when it comes to purchasing a console, it should be the games. Honestly, my wife and my kid, they love the Xbox. They love it mainly because of the interface, and they love using the media features about it, like using it for YouTube and stuff like that. My son plays Roblox on the Xbox and stuff like that. But when it comes to PlayStation, that's kind of my thing, because it's the games on it. The games on it, in my opinion, are better. You can't get games like God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn on the Xbox.
Right.
I'm gonna just say this. I agree with you 100%. I've been a diehard PlayStation fan. I'm being honest. I am a PlayStation fanboy. I respect the hell out of Microsoft. I respect their consoles. I don't like to trash the competitors. But when you want to start talking games, I'm with you 100%. You've got Horizon. You got Spider-Man, God of War. There are games. Ghost of Ghost of Tsushima that just came out. You've got Infamous series. You've got so many good exclusives like Predator. No, Predator's not exclusive. I forgot there was another game, but
Last of Us.
Last of Us. Thank you. There is so many game titles with PlayStation that Xbox, for me, the only thing that really had them was Cyberpunk and Halo. I could see Cyberpunk because Cyberpunk was Insomniac's kind of their version of Spider-Man. But I think with Microsoft, I like this approach. They need more titles. They need more recognition. And they just might have, because they're saying that did you guys hear? I don't know if you hear I don't know if you've heard this, but hold on one second, I'm sorry. Thank you for the $5 super chat. PC Master Race, that's it. You go the PC route. You on that PC route. But there's a rumor that Warner Brothers games are being bought out by Microsoft, and that Microsoft might be purchasing the rights to Batman and Mortal Kombat. And if that's the case, those are going to be their exclusives.
You said Warner Brothers games, so that's AT&T owns them. That's interesting.
They're selling out the gaming division.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I want to follow up, James, and then we'll move over to PlayStation. If Xbox, Microsoft gets a hold of the game, if they get a hold of the Warner game titles of Mortal Kombat, Batman, maybe any future games, does that give them a boost in exclusivity, or do you think they still need more?
That would definitely give them a boost. I mean, because if they get WB games, that will give them like access, like you said, Batman, Mortal Kombat. I want to say, oh god, what was the other franchise that I think is WB?
Infamous, Injustice.
No, that's right. Another one, Injustice. So I want to say it was that Lord of the Rings game that kind of had a similar.
Oh yeah,
Batman.
it is in there. Yeah.
So that would give them access to that. Like, granted, the second game in that franchise didn't necessarily sell as well as the first one, though. But I mean, I feel it was still overall a good game. Sure. But I mean, they would have access to some great games, and if they made those exclusives for the Xbox, I definitely think that would give them the boost they need. Whether or not that would get them all the way to where they need to be, we wouldn't know until something that actually happened. But I definitely think that would be a massive step in the right direction. Because I know for a fact, if, at least for me, if they came out with the next Arkham game for the Xbox, I mean, I might look in that direction because I love those games.
Yeah. Oh, I'm buying it on PC. If they got an exclusive for that, I love Arkham Knight. That game is awesome. Mm-hmm. Sam, I'm sorry right now if you have no idea what we're talking about right now.
what makes you think I don't know these games, bro?
Fair point. Touche. Yeah. Checkmate.
You act like I'm not you act like I'm 100 years old or something, bro.
No, we're not acting that. I'm just looking. I'm looking at you. I'm saying I hope he knows what we're talking about. I'm just saying.
I absolutely do. I mean, I remember Xbox's glory days with Halo when that was the game. That was the title.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
You know, and that's probably what kept Xbox, because the sport games, you know, FIFA and 2K, they're cross-platform. You're not gonna. There's no jockeying for position. You're not really taking customers from one to the other, because those EA games and stuff, they're on both platforms. But yeah, like people that loved Halo had to buy an Xbox, and you know, people that loved, you know, the PlayStation titles because they were exclusives there, you pretty much had to get one or the other. Most people didn't spend on two consoles. I mean, maybe adults can because they work and make money. But like when I was a kid, you either had one or the other in most cases. I don't know. Maybe I had some rich friends that had both, but for the most part, you picked one.
Yeah, I was the same way. I'll be honest with you. I learned that the hard way. I have an Xbox One sitting in the guest room. I tried to play it. I tried to manage 2 consoles. I could not do it. I can't do it. I work. I make money.
Yeah.
It's just paying to play online is a pain. Then you got to get the games, and then you got to get probably the add-ons, the DLC, and it was too much. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with PlayStation. But now we get to our last story, PlayStation. And James, I'll let you take it away. Now,
Thanks for the
story,
super chat, Michael. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh yes, that he donated a PayPal donation to you, Sam.
Thank you.
No worries, though. It's okay. I'm okay. But according to Comic Book Geek Squad, apparently the new exclusive to the PS5, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, is reportedly including a PS5 remastered version of the PS4's Spider-Man. So in the article, there was a leak, according to Game Informers, right here in the magazine. That says it right here somewhere in the game. It was talking about how Miles Morales, here it is. He will be the center stage in Insomniac's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Not bad for a hero who's been around for less than a decade. Miles Morales isn't a traditional sequel since it comes bundled with a remastered version of Insomniac's Spider-Man that takes full advantage of the PS5's hardware. So they right there just confirmed from Game Informers that we are getting 2 games at launch. So not only are you buying Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4 remastered, but you're getting also Miles Morales. So now I want to ask you. Now, of course, this is good news and all, but there is a debate going on right now with the PS5, most notably backwards compatibility and future-proofing, meaning games cross-platforming over from the PS4 to the PS5. So, Jane, I need to ask you. Mm-hmm. There are some games that have been released right now for the PS4, and Sam, you could chime in and hear this as well. They have announced that there are games releasing for the PS4, for example, UFC 4, will not carry over to the PS5. Now, we don't know why or exactly how, but some developers are not. And some developers are making versions for the console. So if you buy the premium version of NBA 2K21, I believe it is, you get the PS5 version, but the PS5 version costs $70. There's a trend now saying games are going to cost $70. I don't know how to react to that. But
is that like a $10 increase, Mike?
It's like a $10 increase from a decade or two pricing that's been constant. So I want to ask you guys, and this is it for the night. How do you feel about games coming over from the PlayStation to the PS5? For example, a game that was made for the PS4, you just bought it, you find out you can't get it on PS5 or it's not cross-compatible, backward compatibility, all that kind of stuff. So James, again, I'm going to let you take the floor, the ropes, react to this and everything.
I definitely think backwards compatibility should be something that is taken into consideration, though, because backwards compatibility is, I think, for this previous generation with the PS4, they didn't really do a lot of it. Their answer to backwards compatibility with PS4 is PlayStation Now, which is basically a streaming service you have to pay for monthly, which really, in my opinion, wasn't the best move. Xbox, people over at Microsoft really did it well with backwards compatibility by having you be able to play Xbox 360 games, Xbox original games, but popping in your disc. And that is, my personal opinion, the route that PlayStation, the people over at Sony, need to take. Because while I will say I do love my PlayStation more than my Xbox, that when it comes down to just making moves that are more gamer-friendly, Microsoft definitely makes the more gamer-friendly moves. Backwards compatibility, you got Xbox Game Pass, and they're coming out with xCloud pretty soon. Like at the end of the year, that xCloud is going to be bundled in with Game Pass. So if you already are a Game Pass owner and only pay that $15 a month, they're going to throw xCloud into it at no additional charge. So, I mean, Microsoft is just killing it, in my opinion, with making those decisions. And that's something that Sony needs to do. They're kind of behind the game on making those right decisions. And I think backwards compatibility is going to be a start for them to be able to make the right decision. Now, I know that they're I think it's like somewhere around 100 big titles are going to be backwards compatible. So things like the God of Wars, Spider-Man, so on and so forth, those are going to be backwards compatible for your PS5. But I mean, not everybody's going to have those big titles. There's going to be some smaller titles that are not going to be backwards compatible. And they don't really even have an official list which of those titles are going to be in that 100 available backwards compatible titles. But I definitely think going forward, they need to be very transparent which titles are going to be cross-gen compatible. Because it would suck to have to buy a game for your PS4 thinking you're gonna be able to upgrade your system, and then you basically have a game that you don't get to play. And as far as games also becoming $10 more expensive, I feel that would also kind of suck because we're on the heel of new hardware coming out. People are going to have to drop 4, 5, 6, maybe even 600. We don't even know the price yet of these consoles. And that, in addition to increasing the price of the games themselves, would just be adding salt to the wound. So I feel that increasing the price of the games would be an unnecessary move, in my opinion.
Yeah, you don't want to price people out when you're
Exactly.
kind of transitioning. So, and especially 2020, if we're going to be talking pandemic,
no.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's nobody. You can't make an argument that these are necessities and that people have to buy these things. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's a little touchy there.
I know.
I just want to say we have somebody else joining us, Sam. I don't know if you recognize Rap Game Solid Snake. I'm not sure who this is. I'm going to add you in. Mind we ask who's joining us tonight?
This is Ray. I'm surprised Sneed didn't say, "Oh yeah, I know who that is." This
What's
is
up,
Ray,
Ray?
man. What's up? What's up,
Ray,
Technoid, man?
Ray,
How you
what's
doing,
happening,
man?
bro?
Hey, how you doing? Maybe I know you by another name. Am I going to take a guess or seem
Ronaldo De
familiar?
Leon.
Reynaldo De
Oh,
Leon. Yeah.
Ronaldo! What? How did I forget that? I'm so sorry.
Nah, you good, man. You good.
Anyway, you got anything to add on this? You got anything you
Well,
want to say?
basically, I'm all for. I'm all for new consoles. I'm all for new games coming out, but I'm just
Came out of
I
nowhere.
really wish that they try to give us a little bit more time as far as people who like to play these games, because it's like I feel like this PS5, it may be new and it may be something that we want to purchase and we want to play with, but it's like at the end of the day, the PS4 lifespan is the shortest lifespan out of the whole entire PlayStation lineup. You got to remember the PlayStation 1 had 10 years.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2, I believe, had an extra 2 years on top of 10 years, so that's 12 years. Then the 3 had a total of 10 years. Now we come to the PS4. PS4 was launched in 2013, I think, or I think it was. I can't really remember. It's been many years, but the lifespan is not that long. So it's like we're getting pushed out. We're getting these new consoles, and we're getting all this new stuff pushed out to us so early. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a war between not only Xbox and PlayStation, but it's also a war between PCs and all the other competitors that's out there too. So I just feel like they should have gave the PS4 and the Xbox a little bit more time before they just say, "Hey, we're dropping new consoles," and it's like, are we really ready for new consoles? Like, that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
No, you make a fair point. Actually, I was thinking the same thing you did, because I will say this: consoles are more next gen than, let's say, a next year smartphone, where every year they say it's a new, different device. It's not. It's a completely, the same thing, except maybe minor differences. With consoles, it's years apart.
Yeah.
But I do agree. 7 years. What you waving for? He's on mute.
I didn't want any. I just when anybody else speaks, I just want to turn off. But I don't know. I thought you glitched out. My bad, bro.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But no, you're right. 7 years is quite a bit of time. But I do argue that it could have been a little bit more, because I remember the PS3. I forgot when that came out, because I was still on the 2006, and it finished 7 years too. Because I remember I got the PlayStation 4 when I was 13. So, yeah, 7 years might be a little too short for me, because these consoles can last you a little longer. I've seen the PlayStation 3 still last 10 years plus. I've seen an Xbox 360 still last as long.
Yeah.
I think the new update cycle should be maybe 9 years.
But you only got 2 competitors. There's only 2 major gaming consoles. If
there's
one moves, the other one's gonna move.
Yeah.
There's a third one. There's Nintendo. There's also you've got PC in the mix, but Nintendo is more of Nintendo's more serious, I would say, because the 3 major names, and James, you could write off any more competition out there, because I only know the big 3: Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox.
Those are the biggest 3 as far as, if you were to look at it from, let's say we look at it from a cell phone manufacturer side, like Samsung, Apple, and Google. That's how PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo is. That they're the 3 main components as far as any gaming goes. I mean, you got people that love PC. Don't get me wrong, PC games and PC gamers, they got a stake in this too, but you know, the three big giants is always going to be Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. I mean, it used to be Sega, but look what happened, you know. So
I remember
it's
the
just,
Dreamcast, bro. Chill out.
yeah.
The
I mean,
SNES,
I got
the
I
Nintendo
got two
64.
I got two Dreamcasts still, man. Like one of them is burnt out. The other one barely plays any. Like it'll play burnt games. It won't play any games that's like from the manufacturer. You know, so
Hey,
But see, the thing is also, even though they did, like you were saying earlier, there, Solid Snake, that it's been about 7 years since the release of the Xbox One and the PS4. But one thing we also got this generation that we don't typically get, we did get slimmed down versions of these cheaper versions of the consoles as well. But in addition to that, we got the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. And I just looked that up; those came out in November 2017. So there are also people who actually dropped a lot of money down on those consoles that only came out 3 years ago.
I forgot.
That
I forgot.
now we're getting out, and those just be upgraded versions of the current gen consoles. So it's kind of like we got a half step of an upgrade.
Yeah.
So and that's something we haven't really seen before. The PS3 didn't have an upgraded version. They came out with the Slim as well.
That's
so did
it.
the PS2. Yeah. So I mean, we're starting to see a turnaround here with consoles happening more and more. So now we'll have the PS5 and the Series X. And based on what this happened during this generation, though, who's to say we won't get a PS5 Pro and a Series XX? I don't know.
You know, you're right.
And the reason why I just really, I'm not gonna say I'm getting tired of remastered games, because I remember when they did that like let's be honest, they did that a lot with PS4. Like they just kept remaster.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, like I would love to see certain games remastered, but it's like some games they really like. There was so many people who put their voices out there in the Sony and the Xbox community, and it's like half the game. Like people really wanted to see a remastered edition. Not to bring this up, even though that's my name. People really wanted to see a remastered edition of the original Metal Gear Solid. You know, and they never did that. They never did that. I mean, now we got Resident Evil. Supposedly, they're working on Resident Evil, 3? So it's like, now we're getting all these different ones. I mean, that 3, because I think they just did did they do a remaster of 3?
They did do 3. They did 2 and they did 3.
So now we're getting 4. 4 is going to be getting a remaster, but they're skipping Code Veronica. So I'm like, what? Like, they're just doing too much, man. They're doing too much.
Well, see, the thing is, are those technically remasters or those remakes? Because I know, no,
I take that back. They're remakes.
Yeah, it's like how they did. Yeah,
because when I say remastered, I'm tripping, because I remember they did a remaster of a few games, but they never remade the graphics. Like they never started from the ground up all the way to the. They never really took certain games like that. They just said, "Oh, let's just put the same one out, but increase the HD quality to this part." They didn't. Remakes is what a lot of people want. They want a lot.
I think an example you're probably thinking of is probably something like with the PS3. That's when actually the original Last of Us game came out, and then shortly after the PS4 came out, they actually remastered They kind of just touched up the graphics a little bit and brought it out again for the PS4.
They did.
That's more. Yeah.
Look at Grand Theft Auto. Look how many Grand Theft Auto 5s there are.
Oh my God. Do you guys? Okay. Hold on. Do y'all realize that we got from 2013 to 2020, we've had the same game for 7 years supported, but we had more Grand Theft Auto games coming out from 2000, from when the first Grand Theft Auto up until that point. We were getting Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, Liberty City, San Andreas. We had GTA 4, and then the different versions, the Ballad of Gay Tony. And now you get GTA 5, and we have not seen another. I mean, we got Red Dead Redemption, but GTA 5's running out of charm. I'm not playing GTA 5. When it comes on the PS5, I'm not playing a remastered version.
I said the same thing. Like, I was at my buddy's house the other week, and I'm like, dude, you really still playing this? He was like, man. I'm like, so what's new about it? He was like, well, they got this. They got new cars. I'm like, okay, whatever. He was like, you could do this now. You can rob banks. You can have this. I'm like, bruh, it's getting old. They need to just come out with a whole new game and just say we got a new one coming out. Like, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
It is. And I hope, for the sake of continuity, and I hope for the sake of the PlayStation with next gen cross compatibility. I hope they bring those games over from the PS4 to the PS5. I
Same
really
here.
do hope that.
Same here. They should have
And that's it.
full library
Yeah.
compatibility from 1
Yeah.
all the way up until now. There should be
You're right.
I should be able to play Medieval on my PS5. I should be able to play Hot Shots Golf 2 on my PS5. I should be able to play Twisted Metal 1, 2, and 3 on my PS5.
So what does it take to make these things? You know, like that's the way I look at it. What is it going to take
It's a software.
right? And we're talking about two companies that big time software companies like that's and hardware companies. So it's not going to take them much to make them reverse compatible, and they've done it in the past. And you know, like you're looking at PlayStation, James, you spoke about it. You're saying you want to see them do it with more titles. I mean, they should be looking to do most titles.
I mean, it's a smart move if you think about it. Let's just say
consumer friendly, bro. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, let's take backwards compatibility off the table here. Let's just say they didn't do it. I mean, at launch, a brand new console doesn't have a lot of games you can play on it. So having backwards compatibility will open up the door for you to actually be able to play all your old titles on your current gen console.
That's true.
While you're waiting for those new titles, because nobody's going to want to buy a new console that doesn't have very many games you can play on it.
That happened to me. I remember when the PS4 came out, right? I didn't have that many games. I think I had Assassin's Creed, not 3, but I had the pirate. I can't remember which one it was where he was a pirate. I had that.
Oh, Black Flag.
Black Flag, yeah, I had Black Flag, and then I had Call of Duty, Black Ops 2, and I'm like, okay. I mean, that too. I had one of those Call of Duties. I can't remember, but those are only 2 games I had. The rest of my games was on my 3. So I remember sitting there and I'm like, I got so many PS3 games, and I barely got any PS4 games, and it's like, they kept giving away certain, like there was free games, I remember at one point, but it was like, man, it was crazy. And that's pretty much what's probably going to happen with a lot of people when they buy the 5, because the 5 is going to be, the 5 is the non-digital console version is $499. And then they said the digital version is going to be, or I think, no, the digital version is $499, and the disc-based version is $499 for the digital, $599 for the disc-based. So that's a lot of money. And then a game is $70. So it's like,
to me, you know what sucks about that $70 game price adjustment is that's standard edition. That's not even special edition or maybe a step up from standard.
Collector's edition or anything.
That is the standard, the bare minimum game only.
A $95 game is not far off, right? Like,
no,
seriously.
Dude, no. Listen, NBA 2K gets everybody to pay for the same game every year.
Every year. Madden does too.
Bro, you could literally upgrade rosters with a single update in the off season, and the game hasn't skipped a beat.
The problem is 2K. They do this intentionally. They shut the servers down after the first year.
Yep.
And that's why, because they know people will play the old ones.
Man, it's so sad to watch people go into GameStop
and
take those games in and get like $5 for them.
Oh man!
Is when you go.
I get sure.
Well, I was gonna say another thing that kills me is when you go to, like, let's say you go to like a swap meet or like a store that has like a plethora of games. Those sports games be the cheapest games because it's like you said, they shut that part of the server down, and it's like they starting all over again. You know, and that's sports games. All sports games do that. Like you can still play some sports games, but I bet you any money you can't put Madden 2006 in and think you're gonna play online.
You're right, no.
Oh man,
bro, I remember Madden '93, bro. Cut it out.
I remember Madden '93 too. I remember Tecmo Bowl. I remember
you know.
Tecmo
I don't know, y'all don't know this one. I remember, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee.
Yeah, I had that on my Wii. My little brother had that.
That was a good game. I was a Godzilla fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I had that one too on PS2.
Those were some, and King Kong.
Yep.
Where are these titles now?
Remember when the movie came out, Technoid? They had the promotional movie game you can get.
That was it.
Oh my God! I remember when Burger King was selling Xbox 360 games.
Oh, I remember that.
What?
I remember that.
Yeah, man. You can
I
go
don't
to Burger
remember
King.
that.
No, I don't remember that either.
They had like those cheap little games that were like worth maybe 2 cents. But
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't
like
even it wasn't even a game. Like all
Wait.
the games was like they probably cost nothing to make because like they had a racing one where you be racing with the Burger King dude and like
Okay, I think I remember that now.
and then they had another one. They had a bowling. They had like a bowling one. And then you know what's funny about those games? Those games they're not worth a lot of money, but they're rare. So if you get your hands on one of those games, you got if you hold on to them, they collect. So I'm telling you, Sneed to tell you, not only am I a movie collector, but I used to be a game collector. I can't go back to that life.
Nah, don't blame you.
Stay away from that life, bro.
Especially if they go up to $70.
All right.
Man.
And they gonna put Zion on the cover for $70.
Final
I
Fantasy,
expect somebody else.
Final Fantasy 7. The original Final Fantasy 7 on the PlayStation is
Ooh, I remember that
$60.
one.
$60.
I remember that one.
$60.
Man, where did the
Got
years
case
go?
for it.
Where do the years go? I kind of miss the GameCube now.
Man, I missed the GameCube. I missed the Wii. I missed the Wii U.
Oh my God, the Wii Sport game that came with the console. That was like everybody's go-to game. Is like bowling. Woo!
Remember all the video? Remember those old YouTube videos where people would be playing with the nunchucks and they'll either throw them at the Oh man, that was the best day.
I remember that. We're breaking TVs and everything.
Oh, you know, it's crazy. The Wii was everywhere. I'm not even kidding. At the time that was out, I was working on a retirement home, and the people who lived at the retirement home actually would play Wii bowling, and you would actually play Wii bowling with the residents. It was crazy.
Wii tennis. Oh my God.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I remember the most popular one for me was bowling, baseball, and boxing. Everything else, that was like the entire library of the game.
I was gonna say I knew it was bad when I can't remember where I was. Oh, I was at my job. I remember I was working in a warehouse, and the next day we came back. I think it was the next week we came back. We go into the break room, and I'm like, "Is that a Wii?" And they was like, "Yeah, they just bought a Wii." I'm like, "They bought a Wii for the break room? Like that's bad." It was bad. It was that bad.
People won't even eat lunch no more.
I was like, man.
I know, man, the times. Hey, listen, guys, I would love to keep this discussion going, but we got to wrap this up, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But listen, rap game, dude, I got to tell you right now, I appreciate you coming in last minute. I know I'm not good with the names right now. I am just so exhausted tonight.
He called you rap.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading off the
Technoid. I've been doing this all week. I was on Steve's channel, Rap Game.
Bro, listen, you guys don't realize it, but that's actually J. Cole. That's why the lights are off. He's got to keep it low key.
I've been Rap Game like the last week, man. I was on so many people's stream with different like
you had like different names and everything.
Names.
He just switches up the bandana. That's all.
Hey, look at it this way, man. You're fooling everybody. You fooled me. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Even though it was towards the end of the show, you definitely added a lot. Man. I appreciate it, man.
I was busy earlier, man. I was still watching. I just couldn't. I was too busy to jump
I'll tell you
on.
something, though, Ronaldo. If you ever want to come back on, I told you the platform is open. You're more than welcome to come on.
And I stream, too, Technoid. And James, if y'all want to jump on one day, me, Bionic Scoop, Perspective Gaming, and See Over, we all stream. And this is what we talk about. Like, it'll go from tech to games. Like, last night I was streaming, and last night was oh, my God. We went from talking about video games to talking about stuff from the 90s. Like, we go on, man.
Oh, man.
I watch you.
Awesome.
Sneed to tell
I'm
you.
subscribed already. I told you. I'm already.
Oh, yeah, man.
I watch you all the time.
So anytime you want to jump on, Technoid, man, and James, y'all welcome. Sneed is.
You'll see me on the next one. And I will bring the fire because me and Tana got to finish our roast out. We got to finish that.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, listen, this was a great stream tonight. We had the Max guys. I want to say thank you all for coming on live tonight. For all those of you watching, for those of you that have made it to the end of the video, #TechGang Let's see if we could get that going. Tech Gang, moderators, hashtag Mod Squad. I stole that from the SMT. It's so much easier to do that. I want to say thank you to my guests, the SMT, Ronaldo. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for helping out. Now, before we end the stream, I want to tell you all last thing. Now, James, you've been on this channel before. You are no stranger. Like I've said, it is great to have you back on. But for those of you that have seen him, this is your first time. I encourage you all to please go subscribe to James's channel. This is Blue Eyed Tech.
Blue-Eyed
Raph,
Tech,
if you can
up
throw
here.
up that link real quick, here it is. Please go check him out. He is a phenomenal YouTuber. He does the same things that I do. The only difference is, I believe, in my opinion, he is more down-to-earth guy. I think he does it better than me because he speaks better. I'm all over the place. I'm more of the I'm gonna attack and destroy. He's more of the I'm gonna keep it neutral and I'm gonna have fun with it. And I like that. I really do like it. So definitely go check
Thank
out James's channel. James, you have been one of the oldest guests that I've had on this channel, and I'm glad to have continued to have you come on, and I'm glad to have you as a supporter, and I'm always going to be behind you no matter what.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm definitely glad to be back. And let's not make it just as long as last time. I definitely want to come back on one of these streams. This is fun.
Oh, dude, the community has grown since the last time. We got a lot more fun
Definitely.
users. We got so many. We got Carlos S Tech. We got Mikey Tech Reviews, Aloha Android. We got Tech Center, and we got so many DJ. There's a lot of people. They make it fun. You are no stranger to this community. You were the start of the Technoid Nation, so it's only fair that you continue to be part of that. So thank you for all the whole year of support, and thank you for being a part of this channel.
Anytime.
And also forgot to shout out Maverick. Poor Maverick was sitting in the wing. Poor Maverick. But anyway, that's it for tonight's stream. Again, go subscribe to Blue Eyed Tech. He brings the content. He brings everything. He does it just as good as me, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. If you dislike the video, hit that dislike button. It helps circulate it anyway. As always, everyone, take care. Have a great night. And peace.